Arik, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to talk about you as the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the fourth year in a row, which feels like a very impressive feat. So I just want to start there and see, what does it feel like and what does it mean to you to have this honor and this nominee the last 4 years?
It's been a great experience, for me being a nominee, um, in a multitude of ways. One, being able to represent our organization, and I feel like we have an organization that believes in doing the work and giving back to our community. So it's definitely very humbling for me to be able to represent our organization. My teammates do so much in their community and here in our local community of the Bay Area as well too. And so representing that has been, a great experience. And then also too, getting a chance to meet a lot of the other nominees and learn more about their missions and goals and how they give back as well too has been very inspiring for me. And being able to meet the Payton family and learn more about Walter Payton, and how great of a person that he was, and the things that he did in his community, and just was a real light for anybody that met him. And so having those experiences have been amazing, for these past 4 years. And I think being a nominee also to represent a lot of people, my family, my hometown. I already talked about our organization, but just a lot of people are proud, and being able to represent them and make them proud is special as well.
I talked to you when you were a rookie. We did a story. You were one of my first features that I ever did, and you talked then about community and how important it was to you. When you go back and think about as a kid and playing football, was this something you envisioned that you would have the ability to make such an impact in such a meaningful way?
Yeah, I can say it wasn't like a big vision of mine when I was younger. You know, we've always done stuff. It's kind of been in me.
Hmm.
Um, as a kid, we've done stuff as a family with our church, different community, um, you know, give back opportunities, and so I've always done it, but I wouldn't say that as a kid it was like a big vision of mine to be doing, what we're trying to do now. So I think it's kind of grew over time, and as I have, got a little older and wiser, and realizing the importance of it, and realize the sense of responsibility that I have to be that change, and um, help the next generation. So
When it comes to your teammates, a lot of them have talked about how you've been an inspiration to them in terms of what you do in the community. Is that something that you go to certain guys and talk to them about? Do you let them come to you? How has that evolved over time?
yeah, it just kind of happens naturally a lot of times. Had conversations. Guys will come up to me and say something like, "Man, I want to do this in my hometown," and I'll just try to help them as much as I can, and talk about how I started uh, our organization, and how it has grown, and just try to really encourage guys to really take the time to just sit down and think about the impact that they want to have. And nothing happens overnight. I
Mhm.
think that a lot of times people see people doing great work, and it's kind of like intimidating a little bit. um like, wow, like, how do they do that? How do I get to the, like, how could I do something like that? And
Mhm.
I know I felt that way, like, in the past, and always like, man, how do I get there? Like, how do I have that type of impact? And it really takes time. It just like with anything, it takes progression. You have to learn throughout the process, and partner with a lot of great people, and have a lot of support as well too, to accomplish some of those goals. So it's that's the message I try to help with. And if a few guys throughout the years have asked me, or when we've been able to have some good conversations.
Was there any one person that was inspirational to you when you were starting on this journey?
Um, yeah, I have a lot of inspirations. My family for sure. Um, and just laying that foundation into me my entire life. And then there's celebrities that I'm inspired by, LeBron James, everything he does with I Promise School, and um in his hometown of Akron. And Nipsey Hussle was a big inspiration for me, listening to his music and talking about the importance of um taking pride where you're from and uplifting your community and making sure that if you have some level of success or been blessed with resources, to pour those into your community. Um, and so, yeah, I've been definitely inspired in a multitude of ways. Being here, with the Niners and seeing everything they do with the 49ers Foundation and going to their events and being able to learn and see is inspiring, as well for me too. And I take a lot of ideas and different stuff from the 49ers Foundation as well.
How much of a difference do you think that makes, maybe if you'd been with another organization? Do you think the 49ers kind of helped shape this part of you?
I think so in a lot of ways. You know, when I first got here, like my first few days here, I was out on the field with kids, you know,
Mhm.
um, for a football camp. And so it was apparent, from the jump that, it was of importance. In my rookie year, they invited us to Golden Getaway. It was still in Tahoe. So that was like my first kind of gala, community kind of fundraiser event, and like seeing how everything works and operates, and learning about the impact that they're having. And so yeah, I've it's definitely has been a big influence on me, being fortunate to be here and play for an organization who definitely believes in doing the work just like I do. And so um like I said, I've grown with the organization, and I see the 49ers Foundation doing more and more each year, and that's what I'm trying to do as well.
Your amazing wife, Mindy, is also very involved in the community and does a lot of work with you. And I know your daughters are very young, but how do you guys explain to them even now how important it is to give back and show them kind of what you're doing in those areas?
Yeah, really young now, but um, trying to teach them, in some ways. I think just trying to parent them the right way now, and I'm sure as they get older, they'll learn more about you know everything that is going on right now. But they've been to some of the events and involved, and so I'm sure they're trying to figure it out themselves and like what's going on. But um, yeah, it's very important for us as a family to instill that in them um, at a young age. And I really think it's really about uh, you know empathy and compassion, and you know thinking about others, really, I think, is the most important thing a kid can start to kind of lay a foundation and learn. And so that's what we try to do um, with them. First with siblings, and first, second, uh, as they're starting to be in their community and around friends. We just try to, teach compassion and empathy, and for the people they're around. And that's going to lead to later in life too.
So before I let you go, I have a couple just other points I want to hit on. One of them is story time with Arik Armstead, which I honestly think is one of the coolest things I've seen a player do. And I would love for you to just talk a little bit more about how that started and what it feels like when you come in to read to these kids and the looks on their faces and the excitement that they have.
Yeah, it started in 2020.
Hmm.
Um, with everything that the world was experiencing with the pandemic, um, I had an idea that, if I was able to connect with kids and keep them engaged in school or reading, try to have some impact there. And so it started off. I think me and my mom did the first one, um, where we read with each other on the 49ers Instagram, I believe. I think it was a live that we did. And then it um, I was trying to figure out how to get in touch with classrooms and help teachers. And, I was hearing, had a great conversation with our mayor, Daryl Steinberg in Sacramento around the time of how to get, people resources and what was going on and what are people really struggling with during the pandemic. And one was kids were dropping out of school and being, um, disengaged in the school at an all-time high. And so I was like, how can I try to aid with that? And what I thought of was just entering their classroom and reading with them, to try to keep them engaged and keep them, break up the Zoom classroom situation, which was so tough on all of them. And then it transformed, and more teachers started reaching out, like, come read to my class. And then we started setting up more story times, and then they became in person once that was safe. And so yeah, it's transformed, and I've read with students all over the world now. I read with a class in Qatar, um,
Wow.
which was interesting. And yeah, it's been fun for me, and hopefully it's been fun for the kids.
Do you have a favorite book that you read during story time?
Um, the latest one that comes to memory is The Couch Potato. Um,
It feels relatable. I could get into that book.
yeah, it's yeah, it's a pretty good book. It's has a very, powerful message. Um, trying to encourage kids to get out the house and, um, explore new things. And so it's a good book.
Right. Well, listeners, check out the couch potato. One last thing before you go, as you look back on all your work in the community over the last several years, was there a moment or a story that someone shared with you that you said, "Wow, this is really cool that I get to do this"? Not only, and you've talked about your career is not just what you do on the field, but what you do off the field. And is there a moment that really drove that home for you?
Um, Everything has been great. I'm definitely always inspired, doing these type of events, and I leave always wanting to do more, and
Mhm.
being inspired, and don't feel like we are doing enough, because there's so many kids out there who need help and support. Um, but I've been inspired. You know, my school visits to Leah Tata Floyd in Sacramento have been very fun for me. Um, and I was at the school like pretty much all day, and you know, got to see all the kids. And it's that day was good for me because there's one kid in particular who was having a tough day, and he just needed somebody to talk to, and he wasn't in the classroom, and he was obviously, having a bad day, and me being able to, just talk to him for 5-10 minutes and support him, um, and him get back in the classroom and able to learn was a good moment for me, um, because you know I think that I didn't always see myself being able to have that type of influence and impact as a young kid, and I was just that kid when I was their age, struggling in school, getting kicked out of class, um, you know, and it was really rough. So being able to support him in that moment was good feeling for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Arik. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.